much for being here with me this afternoon. Joanne, Amanda, and Danny, thank you, thank you, thank you. So today what we're going to be putting together is what did I call it? Like Bun-less burger Bliss. And we'll just call them the best damn fries best damn oven fries ever. So so sometimes with cooking, so there's, this might take us about an hour because the potatoes themselves there's a two-step process to how this is going to go to kind of make your chip. I got into the word using chips for my fries. So if I refer to chips, that means fries. I just like the way the British do it. So, but there's two steps to it. So we'll just sort of walk you through what that's going to look like. And I'm going to what's going to happen is I'm going to take us all the way to the very end of plating. However, if you want to take the extra step that is going to take to make your fries the best, there's going to be a small gap for you, about 20-30 minutes. So I just letting you know, I'll let you know when that piece is. But because what happens with these chips or these best damn oven fries is that we're going to simmer them in water for about 15-20 minutes. And then the best thing that you need to do is either transfer them to a fridge or the freezer so that we can recrystallize the starches, and that's going to give us a really crisp outside edge of the fry and very meaty on the middle. That step is obviously optional, but that would be like the most ideal. So I'm just kind of throwing that out there just so that we kind of know where we're going today. So it might be a little bit, so just bear with me in terms of cooking. There's sometimes just like timing and things like that and instruction that can kind of get a little tricky, and I'm learning as I go. So yeah, that was just a huge mouthful. So
it was great. I think you set the stage well.
All right. Well, let's, okay, so the Bun-less burger Bliss, let's get started with the, why don't we get started with the first step of the potatoes. So you'll need a couple Russet potatoes or a couple Yukon Golds, whatever you're working with is great. So what we're first gonna do is, we're gonna peel the skin off the potato, and then we're gonna cut them into like batons, I guess you might call it. But we'll get to that spot first here. So we're gonna peel the outside skin off the potato.
Nick, do you think we should get the water boiling at all by chance?
No, we're gonna actually just put it in cold.
Oh, really?
We're just gonna turn the burner on to medium low, and we're gonna let it just sort of simmer for about 15-20 minutes.
Right there, perfect perfect example of the best damn oven fries you've ever had and you didn't know how to cook. So awesome.
So I did a lot of research on how to make the best oven fries that you possibly could, and this is what I've come up with. So they are phenomenal, I will say that. You'll be like, wow, like you'll be surprised that they're coming out of your oven and not like McDonald's, to be perfectly honest. So yes, okay, so we're peeling that outside layer of the potato off. Again, so one of the tricks with the picking of the type of potato, so I'm using Russets. You can use Yukon Golds, which are a little bit more delicate and probably wouldn't need to be cooked as long on the stove, but for whatever reason, the russet potato just seems to have a little bit more strength when you cook it. So we'll discard the skins of the potatoes. We will not be using those again. And then I'm going to set my potatoes up on my cutting board as such. Let's make sure you can see this. And I'm just going to slice and here's what I want you to know. So keep them about ½ inch thick, okay, as you cut along. And then you're just going to cut batons. So it will sort of look a lot like this, like a chip, okay? So keep slicing along. You'll make about 3 or 4 slices along the potato. Don't have to be perfect. And then when all your baton potatoes are all done, so again, I'm going to come back, I'm going to show you again just sort of the uniformity that I have. Again, they're not perfect, but you're looking to have these kind of baton-like fry shape of the potatoes. So once those are all cut up, you're going to fill the pot with water and you're going to transfer that to medium-low heat on your oven. And we're just going to let that sit for about 20-ish minutes. And as those are cooking, we are then going to dive into making our Chipotle aioli for the Bun-less burger dressing. We're going to caramelize some onions, saute some mushrooms, and patty up our burgers. So let's get started with the Chipotle aioli. So I always like to think about, not all the time, but most of the time, I like to think about the starting with the end in sight. So the dressing is going to obviously be the last thing that I apply to this dish. So we are going to move into the aioli. So you'll need an empty bowl. You'll need a whisk. You'll need a lime. You'll need about a ½ cup of mayo, Chipotle pepper or Chipotle seasoning, and a little maple syrup. And I also grabbed some fresh chives out of my garden, which are totally optional. But yeah, so first things first, I'm going to add about a ½ cup of mayo to the bowl. And then when I'm done there, I'm going to use about a ½ a lime. So when I first get my lime started, I want to just kind of plump it up, so I roll it on the cutting board with my hand, and I'm going to cut in, and then I'm going to add the ½ lime into the bowl with the mayo. Give it a good squeeze. Okay, Then the next thing we're gonna do, we'll open up, we're gonna use 1 Chipotle pepper. These things can be pretty spicy, so it's totally up to you how much you use. Oh, why not? Let's just use 2. I like spice, so. Okay, so once I have those Chipotle peppers out on my cutting board, I'm going to go ahead and mince them up. Kind of making it into a little bit of a paste. So get it as fine as you can or pasty as you possibly can with your knife. We'll take care of the rest with the whisk. And I'm going to go ahead and transfer the Chipotle pepper into my bowl with the mayo and the lime juice.
So Nick, can you freeze those then and use them at a later date?
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Yep.
Okay.
You're talking about the Chipotle peppers, Joanne?
Right.
Yep. You'll probably be, honestly, you'll probably want to keep using it. You'll probably make another batch of this right after this because it's so good.
Okay.
No, but yes, you can go ahead and freeze those. That's a great option. Okay. And the next thing what we're going to do is we're going to add a little, I have some chives, so I'm going to go ahead and add some chives. If you don't have that, add a little salt and pepper. And a little drizzle of some kind of sweetener, be it maple syrup or honey. Add a pinch of salt and pepper. And a drizzle of maple syrup. Okay, and then I'm going to take my whisk and whip all this baby up here, okay? So it's going to turn kind of a pale orangey color because of the Chipotle peppers. But just keep giving it a good whisk. You might want to stop and give it a taste check. It's going to be really smoky at first, and then the spice is just going to linger on. It's not overwhelming. It's just kind of a little tickle on your tongue. Woo, that is good stuff. Okay. So what I'm going to do after that Chipotle mayo is all done. I'm going to transfer it to the fridge for use later when we plate our burger. Perfect. Does everybody's taste good? Joanne,
Delicious.
how's it taste?
Very good.
Awesome. All right, so then the next thing what's going to happen is we're going to transfer over to getting the onions caramelized, the mushrooms sauteed, and we'll also patty up the burger. So first thing you're going to need You'll need your skillet to caramelize the onions and the mushrooms, and then a little oil, salt, and pepper, and you're gonna want your onion and mushrooms out. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn my burner on about medium-high heat. All right. So with the onion, I'm going to lob the top and the bottom off. And then I'll slice it once down the middle, halving it. And I'm going to peel that outside layer off, making sure we remove all of the mealy part of the onion from the outside. That Chipotle pepper's lingering. Woo! All right, so then from there, flat side down on the onion, and then again, I'm just going to cut along the ribs. You can see on the onion that there's ribs there, so I'm just going to slice along the ribs. About a third of the way through or a quarter of the way, I'm going to flip that last edge down. And the reason I want to keep it flat on the surface is that I want to make sure that I am controlling the flow of my knife. So I'm not cutting at weird angles or putting my precious little fingers at the mercy of the sharp blade. So always trying to remember to cut with on the flat side of your surfaces of your food. And then when those onions are all done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer that to my hot pan. And start breaking them up, spreading them around, allowing yourself to cry if you need to cry with the onions. Woo! Chipotle pepper on my back of my throat, now onions. I love cooking. All right, so we're going to let those onions kind of simmer down. They're going to start to sweat, and then they'll start to brown after they start to sweat. So once they start sweating, what is sweating? It means that you sort of start to see some moisture start to come to the surface. Wow, those are strong onions. Real men cry. I'm just going to tell you that right now in the kitchen. Real men cry. Okay, so once they sweat, that means just moisture is coming to the surface of the onion. And then I'm going to just dust it with some salt and pepper and keep letting them cook down. Okay. Moving fast. I'm on a mission. All right, so with the mushrooms will be next. So what I'm going to do with the mushrooms, there's about 8 ounces worth. It depends on how many, this recipe that I'm serving or creating today is for 2. So I have about 8 ounces of mushrooms. I'm going to slice down the middle. Then I'm just going to let the flat side down. I'll slice down the middle of all of my mushrooms, practicing the philosophy of one step all, meaning do one step of each procedure before moving on to the next. And I'll keep that flat side down of the mushroom. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come through and just slice them up. All right, when those are all sliced up, we're going to transfer them back into an empty kitchen bowl, and we'll add these in just a minute with the onions. Give those a good stir. Also, at this point, if you're going to cook your chips, I would turn your oven on to about 415 degrees. But if you want to put them, so I'm going to talk, the chips are almost done. I'm going to talk us through why it is that we, the advantageous step of putting them in the fridge for a little bit of time before we cook them. But that's going to be totally up to you. So next thing I'm going to do, we're going to get our we're going to get our patties ready for our burgers. So I have about a pound of ground beef. I'm just going to go ahead and season it already with some salt and pepper. I'm not going to add anything else other than salt and pepper. And I'm going to mix it up. I should be able to get 2 patties for sure, maybe 3 out of this. I'm going to go for 2 because this recipe is for 2. So once I have, I'm going to ball it up. Try to get any of those outside air pockets closed in the best you can. Kind of measure it up to the second one. Make sure that they're even. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to patty up my burger. Okay, and then when you feel like you're done, make sure you kind of give it a little punch in the middle with your thumb, because that's going to prevent it from sort of shrinking up and giving you a lopsided burger. All right. We got our 2 burgers done. Make sure you wash your hands after touching that raw meat. Give your onions a good stir. So if anyone would be grilling these burgers, you'd also be, now would be the best time to go and fire up your grill. That's where I'm going. And let's go ahead and then add those mushrooms. Stir them in nice and well. We'll let that sit. All right. Now the attention turns back to the chips. So with the chips, if everyone can see, what I'm going to be looking for when I'm ready to pull these off is that they're starting to break down just a little bit around the edges. So you'll sort of maybe start to see that they are like really rough around the edges. I have maybe about another minute or 2 on mine. It's a very delicate time when you pull. Again, I'll sort of show you once I'm there when the time is to pull those off. Like here's a great example. So you can sort of start to see that the edges are starting to crack, and that's what's going to give the chip its really crisp outside, because that's going to absorb the oil that we're going to be using, and it's going to keep the chip inside nice and fluffy. So there's a little bit of you know, playing with science here as we're working with the food here this afternoon. So it's once again, for those at home, you're kind of looking for your chips to have this, you're going to sort of start to see some bumps or some cracks on the edges. And once you start to see that is the time that you need to pull them off, and you need to transfer them to a like a baking sheet. And what I've done is I actually went ahead and did some potatoes this morning so I can kind of show you a little bit more about what I was trying to talk to you about. So this can always be done ahead of time, like before you actually get into the cooking of your burger so that the meal can be complete. But here's what's going to happen. So I'm going to take those potatoes off, and then I'm just going to transfer them onto some kind of sheet so that they can dry. And again, you can start to see, turn that oven off. You can kind of start to see on some of these potatoes that the edges are starting to break down, and that's exactly what I want to have happen. So this is the dealer's choice. So for those of you that are cooking at home with me right now, now would be the time that you can either cook along with me, and we'll oil the ones that just came out of the oven up and roast them, or you can put them in the fridge, because by putting them in the fridge, you're going to recrystallize the starches. It's just going to give you a better product. It doesn't mean that it won't work right now either. So it's just kind of a dealer's choice here, however you want to sort of complete this meal. Maybe for the future reference, you do this again, you try putting them in the fridge and just sort of see what works better for you moving forward. So let's just go ahead and try it out, huh? So with the oven set, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna oil up the fries that I have. And then I'm gonna dust it with some salt. And then I'm gonna transfer it to the oven. Alrighty. So now that the chips are on, what we want to do is we'll roast them for about 15, 20 minutes. And we'll take the next 5 minutes to sort of get the rest of our ingredients ready to go out to the grill. And we'll get our plate ready to serve the burger on, kill the heat on the onions and the mushrooms. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to get a bed of lettuce down on my serving plate, because that's what I'm going to serve my burger on. And then I am going to, what was I going to do? Oh yeah, make sure you stir up your mushrooms and your onions. Then I'm going to go and I'm gonna try going out to the grill here and see what happens, because I want to just do a quick little lesson on the grill before we plate our food. Oh, that's what it was. If you want to use some cheese, now would be the time. You'd also pull out your cheese. You take that out to the grill with you. I'm infamous for running in and out of the house when it comes to grilling. So I'm trying to get better at taking everything that I need all in one foul swoop. I'm gonna cut the heat on my onions and my mushrooms, and you can sort of see that they're nice and caramelized. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. If I want, I can go ahead and transfer that into an empty bowl if they're done. And we'll just leave these cool. All right, so I'm at the grill. Welcome everybody to my grill. I'm sorry, let's see if I can improve this. Kind of. Okay, so when I'm grilling, I guess the first thing I want to do is make sure that my grates are clean. So I have this nifty little tool. Scrape all that crap off. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my burgers here. So I'll let everybody see here kind of what I'm working with. Try not to burn up my iPad. But yeah, so here's what's going to happen, everyone, is that we're going to let these grill on one side for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll check back in just a little bit. But what can I say about grilling? Well, it's obviously grilling season, or getting to be. I love grilling season. That's when all the heat and all the fun starts to happen. You know, I'm using a gas grill. A lot of people, I also have a like a green egg, but the gas grill for my purposes right now is just for economy's sake, time's sake. So the gas is a little bit easier to start and clean up than it would be for a green egg. But it doesn't mean that I wouldn't ever use the green egg in this recipe either. I'm just trying some new things today, so I appreciate the patience and understanding. And what's nice about the grill is that you get to be outside. I don't know, I hear the birds, battle the gnats. Doing this. I like the smell of the smoke on me. What else do I like about it? I just think it does so much more with flavor in the food too. So I guess I always just really admire the grill for what it can do for flavor. But yeah. Is anybody grilling? Amanda or Joanne, are you guys grilling?
I'm waiting for my charcoal.
Oh, so you're gonna, I see. Okay. You got a
That's
little
okay.
bit of,
Yep. How do you like your green egg?
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very versatile, right? So yeah, I can do just normal grilling stuff. I can go low and slow, like with smoking meats, briskets, pork shoulders, ribs, things like that. And then, which I hope to do later this summer, would be use the pizza stone and start making my own like flash fired pizzas, because you can crank that thing up to about 900 degrees. So that was kind of fun.
Do you use charcoal in that, or is that just gas?
No, you'd have to use charcoal. Yes, there's no gas for the the green.
Okay.
And they have other, there's more versions of it out there, obviously, or very different brands around the same cooking method. I don't know much about the other brands, but I know that they do offer some. All right, so here's what's gonna be happening here. Let's see if I can, all right, how about that? So I'm gonna go ahead and flip my burger. Look at those nice grill marks. Ron Swanson would be so proud of me. Okay, so then from here, I'm going to let those sit for about another 2 or 3 minutes. And then I'm going to add the cheese to the top of my burger, because I always like the cheese melted on top. I don't like just cold cheese on a hot patty. I don't know. That's how I was raised, but I don't know why we never put the cheese on during the grilling process. Must be a South Dakota thing. Danny, how did you have your burgers when you were growing up? Cold cheese melted on the grill?
Oh, cheese melted on the grill most of the time. I go back and forth, though. I'm not always a cheese guy, but cheese melted on the grill. But I guess, too, we were also like Kraft Singles family, so I don't even know if that's real cheese. It's not. I mean, it's not real cheese, but like, so like that stuff just melts in your hand. You can blow on that and it'll melt. So yeah.
Amanda, what about you? Did you guys melt the cheese before you ate your burgers?
I guess, yeah, except for I was never really a cheese person on my burger. Now I'll do cheddar cheese if it's good cheddar.
Yeah.
Or like Swiss or like a pepper jack or something. But
ooh, yeah.
I don't like American cheese, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't really either. I'm with you on the cheddar or the Colby Jack or Swiss or something. And again, for those that, the cheese is obviously optional for this recipe. Sometimes it's nice to have it. Sometimes you're just not in the mood. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add the cheese here to my burgers, which I just did. What was your favorite thing growing up on the grill, Danny?
We only had really like two things on the grill. It's either burgers or barbecue chicken. So those were the only two things. probably say, well, we've had steaks, but my parents weren't the greatest grillers, you know, like there's many of like nights of trying to grill, but food got the grill's a little too hot, things got a little burnt. So probably like a really good steak and someone knows how to grill it well. Amanda's grandfather likes to grill strictly by time, not by, you know, intuitive feel or sense. So his burgers tend to be a little bit more well done.
Not all meat is created equal.
No.
All right, so I'm pulling my burgers off here. All right. That might have been a failed experiment, but hey, in my head. So I'm going to meet everybody back inside with the final portion of putting the bunless burger and best damn oven fries in the world. So I'll see you just a minute. I don't know how well that went, but here we are back in the kitchen. All right, so what I want to do now is just check on my fries. Oh yeah. These are looking mighty good. So here we go. So I'm going to show everyone what that's about. All right. So you can kind of start to see here on the chip itself that it's starting to caramelize on the edge. So it's already starting to get that crisp outside of a French fry that you would get from a store. And then if you bite into it, it's going to be crunchy on the outside and soft on the inside, which is like the best way a fry should be, in my opinion. But those have about another 2 or 3 minutes. So what that means is I'm going to get my plate ready. So I'm going to put my burger down. On my lettuce bun. And I'll add the onions and the mushrooms here. And last but not least, I will add a wallop of Chipotle mayo.
One more.
Don't forget to lick the spoon. So the other thing that you could do if you have leftover Chipotle mayo, if you like it, you could also use your chips to use this as your dipping sauce. Which would be pretty phenomenal too. Okay, so the burger's ready. The fries are right there. All right, so whoop, I need my bowl. I forgot my bowl. So again, with those fries, you can see I'm just holding it up. You see how nice and stiff that is? It's not flimsy. It's not soggy. And so the whole reason why you want to help the process of this by putting them in the fridge is that it really helps crystallize that outside part of the potato, and it really helps make that really nice outside crust. I know it's sort of an annoying step, but I didn't write the rules of science. So there you have it. Does anybody have any questions about where to go to now or where they're at in their process?
No
I just,
questions.
whoops, I do.
Go ahead.
You had garlic on your list of ingredients. Did we?
Oh,
Were
I completely, I thought about, I just kind of called an audible, Joanne. I thought we could have added, you could add the garlic to the aioli. I just kind of decided last minute not to add it.
Okay.
So
I thought I missed something.
no, you didn't miss anything. I just kind of opted not to go for it.
Okay.
But if that's something you want to try on your own with the garlic and see the difference, like that's awesome. And don't forget to share your photos of what you come up with. I was kind of envisioning this as being a great Memorial Day Murph post-workout meal. I don't know how many people are going to be doing Murph this year, but that was my thought. So without further ado, if there's no more questions, I will wrap
Nick's
this up.
hungry.
Well, these fries are so damn addicting. I'm serious. And like,
We took the extra steps, so ours are a little behind, but we're excited to try them.
Right.
awesome. Is the roasting process clear for you, Amanda? It's about 15 to 25 minutes until they're kind of golden brown on the outside.
Yep. Yep.
Awesome.
I'd say they got about another 10 minutes.
Okay. And Joanne, you're good on the roasting?
I am.
Okay.
I am. Mine probably have about 10 minutes also.
Oh, you went the fridge route too, huh?
I did.
Okay. Well, awesome. Well, thank you both so much. Thank you, Danny, Amanda, Joanne, for being here with me. Next Monday is Memorial Day, so I don't think that we'll have a cooking show or cooking webinar on that Monday, just so that even though we're in weird times, I just kind of thought it might be nice to, if you have a chance to be with family or friends in whatever capacity, that we should do this, or maybe make them this meal or one of the other meals that we've made together. So
Very good.
all right.
Great. Thank you.
Well, much love to you all, and thank you, and bon appetit.
Thank you, Nick.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.